What's going on, guys? Christian here from CK Wraps. So we're wrapping this Audi S8 in light blue chrome, and I want to show you one thing about the trunk. Now, don't forget to check out our website, ckwrapstoronto.com, and subscribe to our mailing list for discounts and promotions on new products. Now, this needs to be done in two pieces, and I'll explain why. Okay, a lot of you saw a recent video of mine, like, oh my God, he put a seam, or just put it on Instagram, put a seam on the trunk. I put a seam on the trunk because I was wrapping it in chrome, because when we stretch the chrome, we end up with a lot of slack here. And if you've ever wrapped a trunk before, you're gonna know that you're gonna get a lot of slack in this area. Chrome is a lot more limiting in its ability to stretch and go around more complex surfaces. So it's not so much very good for complex surfaces. When we have body lines like this, we can utilize these body lines really well, actually. So it's got two really hard body lines. I could choose either one of these. The top one is going to be probably a little bit easier as it's more in the middle. The bottom one will be a little bit more technical as it's more around the bottom side. So we'd have to actually stretch the larger piece on top more across in order to get that to kind of conform around that section right there. I'm going to use knifeless tape. I'm going to go for the more difficult body line. This way it stays more out of the line of sight. Again, you might want to choose which one is also more pronounced. The one that's more pronounced is a little bit more on the top, but this one's a little bit lower and out of sight, like I said. So I'm going to try and use that one right there. If we don't, we fail, then we do it again and we do the top one. So at least we have options. Some cars have spoilers, and again, if it's like your own car and you're really struggling on the trunk, as a lot of people do, and you have a nice hard body line, and you have a spoiler, like a duckbill spoiler sitting there, you could use a seam, remove it, use a seam, put your spoiler back on, and you might have like a couple millimeters on each end, but just do it nicely and try to make it so it faces away from the eye. So let's get the knifeless down. This is already prepped with isopropyl alcohol, 70%, and a link to this knifeless tape that I'm using, and everything else will be in the description below for you guys who are looking for it. You can see that I've masked off the surrounding area. The reason why I didn't take these taillights out actually is because the bolts are like seized. I don't know what's going on with those, so I couldn't even turn them at all. It wasn't even worth the risk to break them. So sometimes you just have to work around things. It's not that big of a deal. It just makes it a little bit more challenging to tuck in further. When I lay the knifeless tape, I like to pull it tight, and then we don't put it down like little bits at a time. I usually come and follow through with it. Done. I'll go over it one more time just to make sure that all the air is out. As you can see, the trunk is elevated. This is also to prevent it from touching the chrome that's already wrapped. I don't want the chrome that I'm about to use to touch the chrome that's already been on the car, already wrapped on the car. It can cause damage to it. So I'm just gonna have a look at my line here. I feel like it was a little bit off right here. I'm gonna move this back. Again, keep it tight. I'm gonna come back a little bit further past the problem area and then lay it down. The reason why I'm doing the bottom, and you might ask, is because the top will overlap the bottom and then the seam will face down. Not that we have so much of a problem with the chrome. It's like, as far as it being visible goes, it just makes it a little bit nicer. So Kirsten and I, we're gonna take this piece. She's gonna give me a hand. I'm gonna leave the cap on for the most part because it's gonna help to keep the scratches away, and this is not that complex. So we'll do that. I'm going to pull it very tight together. So as we pull it tight together, it's going to conform. So pull it right now. Yeah, I'm going to hit that top edge. Yep. And see, stretch it back. Just like that. So this is perfect. We want to lock it into this edge right here, right across the knifeless tape. This means that if I let go from the bottom, this film should kind of tuck in. So watch. Let's get it off the tape. Very sticky stuff, like I said in other videos. There we go. There we go. There we go. And you can see the film is pulling itself into this area, right? Makes it so that I don't really have to heat and stretch. There, even better. Because I don't want to have to stretch into anything here. And the fact that we got a bit of stretch also, you know, helps it contour into everything and contours around the edges, all that fun stuff. This stuff is so sticky, it's crazy. All right. Especially when you put tension on it, it makes it even more sticky. Because now it doesn't make it more sticky, it's already sticky, but it makes it so that it's just grabbing onto everything. So right here, we can put like a bit of a relief cut through the light, since we only have to kind of wrap up to about here. I'll look behind, and I've masked the light off. But I'm just gonna come a little bit lower, so I make sure I give myself enough. Perfect. So remember, it still has the cap on it. It's nice to be able to use the cap whenever you can. Oh, squeegee's here. If I'm getting bunched up vinyl, this just means that all I gotta do is pull it a little bit tighter and it should come across a little bit more. So let's bring it back a little bit and then I'll pull it kind of tight like this. I wanna keep it spread apart. There we go. As you notice, I'm not pulling through past the end. I'm not pulling past this edge over here. See, it's all the way over here. I'm just pulling through this section here to get it glassed out. Perfect. That side's looking good. Let's see what we can do here. As we do that pre-stretch with the cap, it can be very hard to do the pre-stretch with the cap because it's very rigid, right? So it doesn't really give us a lot of pliability, if any at all. So some trunks, in general, even with regular films like the Mitsubishi Lancer or my car, the Hyundai Genesis, can be very difficult to do in one piece. Even with a regular film, even with a film like Avery, it can be, and it's one of the easier ones to use, it can be very difficult to do in one piece. So again, I'm getting some bunched up film here. This just means I gotta pull across a little bit harder. Perfect. We'll kind of lock it in, and then we can release from the bottom and lay in. If we don't lock it in, this just means that it could snap off and then reset. All right, it's almost time to do the cap. I just want to make sure I'm over top of the knifeless, nice and securely. Might as well take advantage of the cap being on while I can, because your fingers can leave scratches as well, so just keep that in mind. So let's get this cap off. So I can see that this cap is already lifting slightly on this side, which is perfect for me. Saves me a bit of time. And we're gonna get this off because we're not gonna cut with the knifeless tape through this. Right, we're looking good. Now we're gonna use some knifeless tape. The remaining knifeless tape that I had on the end was not long enough to reach all the way past the excess film. Again, we're right here. Now we can float it in our hand, and we just want to separate the filament from the carrier, the filament being the red. And it's very delicate. There we go. Sometimes it breaks, so always leave yourself an out on both sides. And then we're going to bring it right up to the film, and then we're going to go quick again. That's it. We're going to follow through swiftly, all the way. Good enough. We're off the end. Remove the top, because the bottom is staying. And then remove the knifeless from underneath the bottom side of this edge, right there. And then our next piece is going to overlap this. But that's a pretty clean cut. So our next piece is gonna go right over top of this piece. I'm gonna grab the knifeless so you're gonna see how I put it down again. The knifeless is 1/8 of an inch wide. So this is gonna leave us with approximately a 1/16 of an inch overlap. And again, we're lining it up the best that we can to the current edge. Now the filament is not lined up to the edge, it's the carrier that's lined up to the edge. The filament is going to cut halfway through between the carrier and leave us that 1/16. So we're lining this up, we're not lining up this filament to the edge of the wrap, we're not butt joining this, we're overlapping. Again, I'm keeping the knifeless tape tight. Perfect. Leave yourself plenty on the ends. Okay, so I'm going to put the knifeless tape away and I'm going to go cut another piece of film. Let's measure out the top of the trunk. So to get the film around this edge with the cap on is going to be more difficult than the bottom one was, especially working with the wider piece of vinyl. We're going to do it. Kirsten says she's been working out, so it's going to take some strength. Yeah, it's going to be a lot of pulling. So I'm going to cut a 26 inch piece, and lengthwise we're hopefully less than 54. Ooh, we're not. So I'm going to have to cut into the roll, which is kind of a bummer because my roll is only 54 inches. I want to double check that. We'll just grab the corner of the top there. Yeah, so I need like a 60-inch piece to do this trunk. Okay, so Kirsten's going to help me pull across the edge of the trunk right here. Unfortunately, I cut this piece like a goof and it's almost exact. So it's going to be a bit of effort. I'm going to pass you that to get it lined up. I'll get it done. It's just, why did I do it? I should have been more careful. All right. So we're going to end up going more your side. Yep. Keep it tight, very tight. And don't be shy when you're pulling on it, okay? So we're going to try and hit that bottom edge in the front. Yep. I'm going to look at my side. I need a bit more film to my way, so I'm going to lift it. Okay, come back my way. Yep, pull tight. And lower, yeah, lower with your left hand. Perfect. Okay, I'm good there. And we're not good in here. So we're going to come down a little lower. I'm pretty close to the corner. Yep, pull tight. I'm going to look right here. Okay. A little more. Yep. Good in the corner. And I just made it. Okay, so we're good. You can place it down. Perfect. So again, we wanted to add a bit of pre-stretch to this, especially right here in the middle, just to get it to start coming around. Helps. So our knifeless tape is somewhat right around here. It's going to be very close, but we made it happen. So I'm going to bring it back a bit more now, and I'm going to cut out some of this that's resting on the window, because this is sort of inhibiting me, whatever's resting on the window, as far as stretching goes. Because it's hitting the window first. So these kinds of things we start thinking about, and if we can get it off the window, then it won't be so much of a problem. Just be careful you're not cutting on the window. Your blades can scratch. So you see the vinyl falls a little bit flatter there. I'm going to pull it tighter across that area there. And get that contour that I want so desperately in that area there. Now, excuse you, dog just coughed. Cool. Come back again this way. And again, if this doesn't work with the cap off, I mean, whatever, it's just, or sorry, with the cap on, don't worry about it too much, take it off, you deal with the swirl marks afterwards. I'm gonna lean. I want to get the air out of the flattest areas first because it will start to lock in like almost immediately. This is not your typical like pressure sensitive film. It's very, very sticky. There we go. Okay. And those who are wondering are coming in a little bit late here. I do, or didn't hear what I said, I do like the trunk elevated slightly. It does help. Helps me at least. Let's get a couple more of these wrinkles out. We'll deal with some of that after. Perfect. Leave that sitting there. Let's fix up this area. I'm going to pull it again a little bit tighter. I'd like it to contour a bit more here. And I may have to remove the cap in order to get this down a bit better over here, which is fine because we got most of the largest, flattest area done without causing any excessive swirl marks. And I'll just keep the film up so I can create my own air release, hopefully. Because yeah, it's pretty nuts. It locks in almost immediately. Let's go this corner. And for those of you who are trying to do this with the cap on by yourself, man, you got so much respect from me because it's really hard. So even I could use a bit of help when it comes to this. Okay, so I'm going to remove the cap right now. We're going to deal with a bit of this. If I can get it. Oh, I see a spot over here. Perfect. Just like glass on the top. Looks amazing. So again, we're going to come across. I'm going to add a bit of heat as well. So we're going to need it. See, I'm not really trying to stretch it down, I'm just trying to feed the vinyl down. Need more cord. Got stuck. There we go. There's not much there. I'll work over the larger area. I can feel the film becoming pliable. Again, 3D stretch. Pulling outwards very gently. So I'm going to pull outwards. Hands got to be close for this kind of stuff. So we're expanding the film along the edge. Let's get this one little guy out on the corner. Fix it up a bit here. All right, we're almost there. If I notice the film crawling back, I want to take it back a little bit and 3D stretch it. Okay, we're going to pull outwards, across. And then come around the bottom side so we can lock it all in. There we go. A little more here. Try and do a larger area all at once here. So even though you see wrinkles here, I haven't really stretched. So they should be totally fine. I'm pretty excited to show you what the seam looks like once we cut it. Make sure we get all the air out. And I believe my knifeless tape shifted slightly here. So I'm going to check it out. Yes, it did. It folded over itself. So it likes to move a little bit sometimes. Before we use the knifeless tape, we're going to heat and make sure everything's solid. So I'll heat this line and then we're going to go for it. Again, I've got to cut my vinyl back so I can access the knifeless. Let's get rid of the bottom piece. Film sticks to itself very well. And then this is going to be our seam. Alright, so after this, I'm just going to trim up the edges. I did want to show you why I do this trunk in 2 pieces, or a trunk in 2 pieces. It's because you can see how much trouble we run into when it comes to actually getting the film around that other edge. Getting the film around the other edge and getting a lot of slack and a lot of excess material. The further down we go, the more we get. And I only went down like an inch there, not even like down the edge yet. So that becomes a lot more technical. It's just because of the curvature of the trunk running around the back end, and then also the 90-degree bend that comes down, and then it also swoops in a little bit. So it makes it very, very challenging. I've done already some videos of the edges and corners with this film, so I'm going to kind of skip to the next videos after this. But guys, if you like the video, don't forget to give it a like, and if you guys want to see some more videos, don't forget the subscribe button. Thank you for watching. Take care.